What's going on, guys? Seth and Chevy here. We just watched episodes 17 and 18 of season 2 of Solo Leveling. We'll be talking full spoilers ahead, so hopefully you've watched these 2 episodes. Hopefully you're caught up. We just got caught up. I was on vacation, and we got to watch these back-to-back, which was kind of nice because they were kind of
connected,
a two-parter. Mm-hmm. So I was like, that works. So we'll be doing a dual review of both these episodes, which were basically the same story arc. And full spoilers, so be ready for that. And let's do a real quick recap.
Okay. So continue on off from the prior episode where Jinwoo was flirting with the idea of going in and toying with the boss a little bit, and he gets busted by Cha Hunter. This kind of just immediately takes place right after that, where she's asking what he's doing, and he just decides to say that he was lost. And he starts to head back, and she kind of recognizes that he had a weapon, and then all of a sudden it's gone. And also, as he walks by her, she starts to sniff him and talks about how he doesn't smell, which I'm going to fast forward a little bit. She thinks all hunters smell bad. So he's a bit of an anomaly to her.
Well, she said also that he almost smelled good, too. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, which explains her covering her face constantly. Mm-hmm. He goes back. He gets paid. The boss is like super impressed. Asks him to come again. He doesn't need the money, so he's not really interested. But he also just has a day to kill. So he just says screw it and goes. It's going to be a 2-parter, a C and an A rank dungeon. We kind of skipped the C rank. He just mines the hell out of it. They get done early. They head to the A rank. The team going in is shorthanded, and they need someone to basically carry equipment in, and the team that would normally help with that is also shorthanded, so they come to ask the miners. They basically don't think it's worth the risk, but Jinwoo still, not telling people he's not an E rank, but everyone believes he's an E rank, decides he's going to help out, and he goes in with them. This group is composed of a bunch of A and B ranks. It's a very well put together group, and this dungeon is supposed to be an A rank. That'll be important later.
Which is never the case.
They go in. They immediately encounter some
high orcs.
Wolves.
Oh, yep.
And they're like C rank monsters, and it's an A rank dungeon. They're a little confused. They notice Jinwoo notices collars on them, which kind of suggests they're pets. And then we get a wall of orcs that show up. Jinwoo hangs back because he's still, basically doing his job, which is to carry the gear. They proceed to fight. They are struggling for a bit. It starts getting a little dicey, so Jinwoo decides to stealth and start crippling them as to not take the kills, but to help them
get carries the party.
Yep. A couple of them notice something's weird, and one of the mages internally kind of thinks about the fact that she noticed he was stealthing because she was able to catch that with her magic, but she decides to keep it to herself because he probably has his reasons, and it's not really her business. He helped them win. They go to leave because they decide these monsters are higher ranked than they really should be dealing with the size of their party. And when they get to the portal, they realize it has a spell on it preventing them from leaving. They try to dispel it. It's cursed. It hurts them. They turn around. There's just even more orcs. And they basically get given an ultimatum, die here or come meet our leader. So they opt to do that.
Which is, with the information we get in the second episode, kind of a fucked up proposal because they're going to get killed anyway. So,
yeah. And I don't know if I'm in the second episode now or not. So
that's the end of the first one, but the second episode starts with them in the arena.
Okay. Where was? Oh yeah. So the leader of the group decides, they're going to go, but he kind of has like a little powwow with them, basically like, hey, we have to kill the leader to prevent these guys from pouring out into the world. Jinwoo, E rank, you're going to book it and get help as soon as we start fighting, basically. And then someone hands them a will, basically, hey, take this.
They're getting ready to die.
They're going to die for this. This is their job. They take it very seriously. This is like one of the first times we see just a legit group instead of a bunch of douchebags, which is kind of crazy in the show at this point.
Yeah. We'll talk about the fight scene with them originally when they're trying to, when they fought the wolves, but then also fought the high orcs. Their organization was much better than a lot of the teams we've seen.
A lot of scam groups.
Yeah. So.
So they start heading towards the leader of the orcs. We get some stuff kind of happening outside the portal. Cha Hunter makes a couple phone calls trying to get information on Jinwoo. She's like really obsessed with the idea that this guy's different. It's just never happened to her before.
He's just built different, smells different.
True.
It's all about him.
While also, everyone else is also trying to figure out stuff on him. She goes to where he's supposed to be, realizes he went in this portal. She didn't bring any gear, but she's going to go in
With a pickaxe.
and decides she needs a weapon and takes a pickaxe begrudgingly.
Yeah.
She goes in, and then even to
Something.
fast forward a little bit here, just to get the outside world part done and over with. Later on, the association also shows up looking for Jinwoo.
As they do.
Yeah. So we get going back inside the portal. The team shows up. They meet this orc. He basically tells them they're going to be toys to be entertainment for the army.
Killed, tortured, devoured.
Devoured. Yep. And he does like an intimidation spell or something like that. I can't remember exactly what happened. Or he just exuded his magical energy. I can't recall what happened.
He just did it could have been a spell, but it seemed like just more like an aura pulse that they all got.
I think it was just his magical energy being
and
released.
it freaked him out because they all fucking panicked.
Yeah, all of them, except for like two of them, basically became crippled in fear, which was the leader and, of course, Jinwoo.
Who, there's a couple times where the leader's like freaking out, and in the background, everybody's just like doing this, and then Jinwoo's just like...
Well, and it's funny, too,
just, like,
because
bored-looking.
the orc looks and he goes, one of you are different,
Yeah.
and shows Jinwoo just standing there, just like obviously like not even phased. Leader decides this is it. We got to take this guy out quick. Do it now. He starts charging, asks for everyone to charge. No one's moving. So he goes up. The orc does some spells.
Respect to him for committing to trying to do
True
what the
leader.
fuck he had to do. Yeah.
Yep. Gets gravity magic up and down, roof to floor over and over again.
He gets fucked
and
up.
right before he's about to die, Jinwoo decides, no one's dying on my watch.
Time to interview.
Protects him, tells the group to basically back off, and then just summons his army.
I also like how he asked for
Permission? Yeah,
to
because
intervene.
it's their dungeon.
Yeah.
And he's like,
ridiculous.
hey, you can keep the credit, but let me fuck him up.
Yeah.
And he's like, please. He's like, okay. Summons all his dudes, and the fight starts. If you've watched the episode, you watch the fight. It goes on for a while.
It was a big one. Mm-hmm. We got the full plethora of Jinwoo's army and growing army now because he's killing off
Orcs.
high orcs and
Absorbing
in the middle
them.
of the battle, bringing them out while fighting this. What is he, like a fucking shaman?
He's like
or
a chieftain, basically. Yeah.
Fighting him, he grows, gets gigantic. Mm-hmm. It was a wild fight scene.
Yeah, but some notable parts that happen here. Hunter Cha comes in, she sees all the dead orcs, realizes they're way higher ranked than they should be.
Yeah.
So she's going to hurry. The association gets the magical pulse from Jinwoo, activating his stuff, exudes outside of the portal. They do another reading and realize that the magic energy is now almost borderline S rank, and they misjudged it. They think it's actually just Jinwoo turning his fucking switch on. They also enter the portal. And then Cha shows up to see the fight, and it's just kind of like most people when they see him kind of go a little flabbergasted by the situation.
Yeah, not only is he like a proficient fighter,
Assassin,
but he's
yeah.
also a necromancer. Like like the one dude brings up that he can only bring up like 2 summons at a time.
And it drains him bad
Yeah, and Jinwoo's got a whole army.
that he keeps resummoning.
He's sucking down potions.
Yeah, and he's just drinking MP potions, which he pulls out of thin air, which no one else can do that. So, and then another moment as the orc chieftain's kind of like in disbelief of the situation because he just all of a sudden existed here. He opens his eyes and he's being given this command to kill humans.
Which
we get
we
these
saw with the elf.
crazy visual effects happening as well as almost like a monitor like breaking and cracking type of thing. And it kind of gives us a little more insight on how like game mechanic-y these dungeons are and how Jinwoo is just such an anomaly to them as well because they don't expect him. He doesn't come off as a human, and then he's just overpowering them and taking them basically. Which
It comes off almost like he has free will and they're NPCs, but they're trying to break away from being an NPC, but the system is resetting them.
Yeah. And then, fight's over. He successfully absorbs the chieftain, so he has his first elite summon. As they made an effort to show us, and he named him Tusk because he couldn't remember his name, and he has tusks because Jinwoo's naming conventions are bad.
I respect it. Simple.
Yeah, basically at this point, the association covers for him, tells everyone to keep it to themselves, and that's pretty much the episode. It leaves off at the end because at the end of the episode, we're back at the association the following day because it's Jinwoo's official retest day, or the formality of basically letting the world know there's another S rank that exists, and we're introduced to a guy named, I think his name was Lee.
Yeah, I think
and
so.
he just is very full of himself. That's all we get. So
Yeah.
try to be quick. Thoughts?
No, that was good. I try to chime in too because there's some things kind of worth talking about there. This is a good two-parter. I really enjoyed it. It kind of started off similar to what we've seen plenty of now, of people going into portals, dungeons, thinking they're going to be able to handle it. Things go awry, things get fucked up. But we are, pretty much at the point where more and more people know about Jinwoo. We're getting to the point where the story is trying to open that up so people will know about Jinwoo. And so it's interesting to have, I guess, one last mission where he's going to be secretive about it. But it's crazy because, like, these people that he's with aren't aware of just how powerful he is. Not that he, like, could help them. He, like, saves them.
He solos the whole dungeon.
Yeah, he solo levels the whole dungeon. And so it's that dynamic made it feel a little different than what we've seen before with these dungeon runs that go awry. It was cool to see basically this team he's with, the first good team he's been with, like people who aren't pieces of shit, people who are organized. People who, when you're seeing them fight the wolves, you're like, oh, these guys got their shit down, cool. But then even when they fight the first wave of high orcs, and it doesn't go well for them, they're at least like surviving the fight. Like, I don't know if they would have.
Yeah, they were slowly losing.
Yeah, but they, it was close. Like they were working together to try and keep things going. One guy loses his arm. He was like a B rank. That was the big handicap, is there was B ranks that just couldn't handle it. But and they were saying they need like 3 more mages, 2 healers if they wanted to conduct that fight efficiently. And I think that was true. It seemed like if they had if they had some of that slack helped or supported, it would have went better. But it was cool to watch that fight. But yeah, having Jinwoo kind of like hop in and like be like Jin ex machina and just kind of fly around with this dagger, fucking taking out Achilles tendons
and wrists and stuff.
Yeah, and everybody's just going like, why are the orcs getting like worse,
slower
at fighting? Yeah, like they're all slowing down. They're getting bad. That was fun to watch. And that he still was just trying to keep. I thought it was funny that they're in the middle of a fight and they're probably not thinking about him, but the idea that there's just like carrier standing in the back corner, just like hanging out.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, but not freaking out, not running away, not trying to help. He's just like hanging out, and all of a sudden people start going down. I thought it was cool too that the chick even saw him too, even though if you think about it, this whole situation, it almost is slightly insulting that Jinwoo could have helped and destroyed everyone, but allowed them to basically go through this haunted house that terrified all of them because they had a real fucking bad time, and he could have stopped that from the beginning. But he had his reasons, obviously, and she felt that. I get that. So,
well, and also he was just kind of being respectful to like the claim, right? It's their claim.
Yeah, but those fucking people are gonna have trauma for the rest of their lives going through that shit. That was almost going to turn out to be the first thing Jinwoo ever went on in like the first episode,
all over again,
where everybody just got fucking annihilated.
He even says that he had the same vibe going into it.
Yeah, well, I thought that was kind of ominous when he said that in the beginning. I was just like, okay, why? And then that happened. I'm like, this is about to be fucking 2.0 of that. Yeah. But Jinwoo, basically in this dungeon was God. So yeah, that was cool. And then the the parlay between the High Orcs and the party that is like had no room to have a conversation.
Hardly a parlay.
Yeah, they're just like, you can die here or come hang out with us back here. And they're like, okay, let's go there. But they had a plan. They're going to do like kind of a suicide mission to try and get Jinwoo out the door, basically. So that's, pretty dark. Yeah, and then they go in there and basically are going to get tortured and killed, which is horrendous. The fight was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
This show is really... it really is good at making badass moments. It really... Not only does it tell you constantly Jinwoo's a badass, just the way he acts and stuff like that. Like, sometimes I'm like, it's kind of dorky how he's like so like...
Aura farming all the time.
Cool. Yeah, it's so fucking cool and blah, 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 blah. But then he like backs it up. So you're like, okay, it's fine. He can act like that because he's doing this shit. He's fucking grabbing chains and throwing around the guy's neck, yanking him down, throwing his daggers into dude's chest. He's like summoning an army. His I forgot what their names are now, but his two like main...
the tank and the warrior.
Yeah. They're doing badass stuff. The choreography was that...
And the bear.
Of that was fucking dope. Yeah, the bear. That he's like siphoning dead people during the battle and bringing them back, and they're fighting other High Orcs.
Worst part of fighting necromancer, dude.
Yeah, I mean, he's fucking off the rails though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool too to see that the break in the Matrix we're seeing now twice.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see where that leads. The show has a lot of, even in the first season, threads that doesn't explain that are slowly being unraveled. I kind of respect that. At first I was like, this is kind of confusing. Like, what the hell's happening? But now like more and more things are like leading to things. And so I'm just kind of trusting that the story's gonna make sense. Obviously I have my speculation as I was talking about. The system is basically making these NPCs follow its code, basically. But to see that like glitch, even when he was sitting in his chair, he's like glitching. But then from his vision, it was like a monitor or something that like wasn't working correctly. So that is also, I really want to know where the fuck Jinwoo's dad's at. So that happened, then he's bailed. So
I heard someone have a pretty interesting theory about some of the stuff Jinwoo's dad said. I don't know how much of that I should say, because if it comes true, it's gonna be crazy. But
yeah, and also I get worried about people who actually know what's going to happen, but they pretend they don't know, but they'll theorize. Like, I think that I've talked to people like that, where they like pretend they don't know, and then they just tell you what they actually know. So
yeah, I mean, it's a React channel I watch on YouTube all the time. So and
they're like organically watching it, like they don't know.
Yeah, episode by episode, and he's pretty transparent about if he reads stuff or not. So
okay, what's his theory? And if you know, please don't confirm it.
Yeah, and if you don't want to hear this part, I'd skip ahead too.
Yeah.
But Jinwoo's dad has mentioned that there's this like new threat that has emerged, and there's nothing anyone can do about it because it'll take them and put them against themselves. Basically, it's basically just describing Jinwoo's power. And so the idea is Jinwoo might be unknowingly being trained by the system to become stronger, to become this large threat that people can't fight against.
I mean, that makes sense. I actually thought about that. That's really fucking weird that you're saying that, because I thought about that when they were watching Jinwoo getting powerful in front of them.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what if he was against them?
Well, and
could they fight him?
And that the dad was like, the threat, it doesn't matter how many people you throw at him or throw out this threat, because it'll just come back on you. And so the idea of that being Jinwoo makes a lot of sense.
It almost reminds me of like Jinwoo's like a virus in the fucking system.
Well, it was like he was reborn. And then also it's kind of interesting because you look in the end credits. I'm looking way too into this at this point.
Sure.
It's both versions of Jinwoo in the end credits, but the younger, weaker version's like almost like hiding and crumpled in a separate room by himself type of thing. Yeah. I don't know. There's something obviously being shown there that's very vague, but
well, in some of the imagery of the show too, it will show both versions of him. So that would be really interesting. I don't want to speculate on that too.
Right. Sorry. I heard so I was like, that's crazy.
But that would be wild if it goes in that direction, because that would be an arc I think would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know, and we don't want to know. So
sure.
Please don't tell us.
Yeah. They said that, and I was like, Oh my God, I
Yeah.
totally see where they're
That
coming
would be
from.
pretty respectable for them to do something that crazy.
Anyways, that was just something I thought was interesting. When you brought up the dad, I was like,
it's
"Meh."
also the trajectory that makes the most sense because I'm just like, he's just getting more powerful. Like,
When the system
what-
is constantly protecting him and giving him missions like kill those people.
Yeah, and it's like, what is the purpose of even doing that?
Yeah.
If it's not doing it for its own benefit, while also letting everything that he's killing, like just slaughtering to level up, telling them to just do it. Let you kill the humans, and then he's gonna kill you. Like,
Yeah.
that's interesting. We'll see. We'll find out. But yeah, and then finally,
That could also be red herring. So
sure, yeah. But yeah, the fight was awesome. I thought this was a really good one. It's probably one of my favorite ones. We saw some really crazy shit with like the spellcaster, just casting all of his crazy stuff. The fucking fire beams, the floor's on fire.
even the other spellcasters in the group had a bunch of cool spells too.
Yeah.
It was really well choreographed.
Yeah, it was neat to see so many different dynamic things of like, the big tank guy just cutting through a whole crowd of dudes. We got magic. Jinwoo brings out his mages. They're shooting fucking shit at this
Uses
dude.
that orb that he's talked about multiple times,
Yep.
how to amplify their magic too.
We just got a really good showcase of like all the things that have been introduced on what can be used in combat, and it was a really really cool fight. I really enjoyed it. And then lastly, that people witnessed this, and now we're seeing, the association or whatever, like silence people, basically saying like, you witnessed an S rank dude. We'd appreciate if you don't talk about this.
Yeah, because he hasn't been officially announced yet. And even
Yeah.
before they entered the portal, they were like asking like, why is everyone after Jinwoo? And they're like, hey, I just watch the news tomorrow because it's his official announcement day, basically.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because like Cha was part of that. She like saw it too, and it was it's very interesting. I think the association almost reminds me of like fucking like the Turks or something. I just think it's funny they always
kinda, yeah.
show up in
Yeah.
suits and have some shit going on in the background. But
Except there's no Rufus, and the pulling the strings that gifts have yet. So
yeah. But yeah, really good 2 episodes. I really liked them a lot. And like I said, I'm kind of glad we watched it back to back because if I would have watched that first episode 17, 2 weeks ago now, and then had to wait a whole week, that would have kind of sucked.
that'd have been rough.
So,
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll stay on top of the episodes from here on out. But yeah, watching back to back, I thought was a lot of fun. So yeah, really liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of pitching in as we were talking anyways,
Yeah.
but I mean, I definitely, I do think the big highlight was just seeing how far he's progressed at this point, because like we already knew his S. They've already told us. The only reason they haven't officially announced yet is because they have to give him the proper tests to get a result. But the only time people fail that or don't get readings is when they're S rank. So
One thing we didn't touch on too that we're talking about that S rank is the dude in the red suit.
Oh, yeah.
Was talking with the leader of that party or whatever. I think that was him, right?
I don't know who he's talking to.
I think it was him in a suit.
It might have been.
Might have been, but basically he asked him, "Could you have
Soloed
that dungeon?" And he said no, which is weird because they call me the ultimate weapon. And then they made a point that we have to get him.
Yeah, but because the power balance between guilds, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But also we've seen his combats out at this point. He's usually surrounded by a bunch of tanks, and he's just a nuke, right? But he's kind of a typical spellcaster from what we've seen, which is he needs to be able to cast some spells, and Jinwoo is not a normal. He's not even really like a spellcaster. He just can, create minions. So other than that, he's a fighter. So it's definitely he's a problem for sure because he just can kind of do a little bit of everything outside of throw fireballs, and he doesn't have to because he can just make other people do it for him. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I also wonder, with them officially having like 10, S ranks now, and with Jinwoo, being the way he is, and only getting stronger every episode, if they'll eventually tackle this island that they keep talking about. Because
I mean, Jinwoo's kind of perfect for it now.
yeah, well, and they keep bringing up all these like, things are hiding from the public. Like now there's flying insects, so they could technically, because that's like the first major portal that ever failed. So it's just open to flood out now. But now with flying ones, they could, in theory, leave that island, which would be devastating. So, so yeah, I'm curious to see how that goes. And also in the intro, Jinwoo's fighting someone in the city. So I'm curious what that means too.
I'll have to pay attention to that. I don't remember that part.
There's a part where he's literally just fighting a dude on rooftops, and it's him and all the summons, and the dude's like fighting them all or whatever. And then you see an elf and it zooms to this elf like looking at him, like kind of like watching on the fight. So, and I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find out.
Yeah, as soon as it happens, we're gonna be
yep,
there it is. So, but anyways, yeah, the show's doing a very good job this season, especially of making the story actually go forward, and giving enough information to not be frustrating. Because the first season just was like too many questions constantly, and this
is like origin story with a lot of like random shit that's building towards something, but it's like what is all this?
Versus I just feel like we're constantly progressing now. So
yeah,
which is
way better,
nice. So and then the fight animations are awesome, which helps as well.
The animations are good, and the like choreography and the imagination of a lot of like the shots are pretty fucking cool. So the action. The first season had some parts where I was like, that was pretty cool, but then sometimes I see something I'm like, yeah, that was all right.
It was mostly just the boss fights in the first season.
Yeah, exactly. And then like the last fight, but that was like a big deal. But this season, everything's like up a notch, and it's enjoyable to watch every fight. So, and it also is like, this fight's not really going to matter, so we'll just kind of show you a real quick thing and move on.
Also, I'm super happy about like getting past the secrecy, because that gets exhausting after a while, and I think they gave us just enough time.
Even in these 2 episodes, I was like, is he really just gonna fucking like walk around with his little backpack the whole time? But no, it didn't do that. So
and it was in a weird way him just kind of being like, it wasn't necessarily like keeping a secret, because obviously he just let loose as soon as he got permission to, but it was more so like they asked him to carry stuff, and so he's like, okay, I'll carry stuff. And then it's your dungeon, you can have it, type of thing. I'm just not gonna let you die. So I don't know. Pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with him being publicly announced, as the title of the next episode suggests. So.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say? I kind of like intervened there a couple times when you were talking about shit.
Well, I was talking the whole time you were saying your part too.
I just want to make sure I didn't fucking disrupt whatever you're trying to say.
So. No, just kind of curious to see where it's going at this point, because especially with that little theory just floating around in my head now from someone else. Curious to see if that comes true now. So
yeah, that'd be really interesting.
I would also be curious to see if they're intentionally kind of leaning towards that, and then just kind of pull the rug out from that and go, no, that's not what we're actually saying. Maybe someone else has a similar ability later. We'll see.
Yeah, the show's been hard to predict. Yeah. It definitely is just going and doing its own thing. So, and there's a lot of different things branching out from the main story. So it's kind of hard to, predict where all those things are going. So
for sure.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right, let us know in the comments what you guys think about these 2 episodes. What were some of your favorite parts? Maybe there's something that happened in these episodes that we didn't really touch on that you'd like to. What were some of your favorite fights? And where do you think things are going?
Unless you know.
Please no spoilers, because we have not read the manhwa and we want to go in blind. So, but if you want to speculate on where you think it's going, if you don't know, and don't be one of those people who actually knows but pretends they don't and fucking just tells people what actually happens, because that's not fun. Let us know what you think about in the comments below, though, when it comes to Solo Leveling episode 17 and 18. Stay tuned. We will be watching more Sakamoto Days. We got another episode coming up this weekend. Then we got the next episode of Solo Leveling coming up this weekend. We'll probably get those out Monday or Tuesday, I'm hoping, because we got a taste cast over on TLG we got to do. And if you got any recommendations, let us know in the comments. If movie, TV show, fucking another anime. Can't guarantee we'll watch it, but we will consider it. I've been Seth. This has been Chevy. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you guys later.